Hey guys, and welcome to another Guardians of Wilt-Shire production. You're here with your host Luke, and this is week 4 of my hobby vlogs. Yeah, week 4 now. From carrying on from last week really, so carrying on with the Iron Hills and trying to get both of these wizards done. With the Iron Hills, I managed to get a bit of bronze on over the weekend. So if I pick out this guy here, yeah, I managed to get some of the bronzes on the armour, the helmet, and on the sword. Also managed to get the faces done again with the pallid, is it pallid witch flesh? Kislev flesh, sorry. That's the one I've been using. Again, I actually used it on the wizard and I liking how it looked. All that's left for these guys is to get the hair and the beards done in various stages of sort of browns, greys, and maybe a couple gingers in there, and then get them washed. That'll be my hope for these guys this week. For these guys, I'm hoping to get these guys completely finished. So we look at Gandalf here. Get him down there and go in. Need a bit more light actually. Tilt him up. There we go. He is coming along really nicely. So I think a few highlights on his cloak, on the cloth and his beard, and he will be good to go. Maybe pick out some lighter highlights on the belt, not sure. Radagast, going to need a bit more work than Gandalf. Obviously she's got his base there to do. I'm going to try and pick out some of the bird poo on his beard. Sort of greeny, bluey sort of colours. Pick out little bits of that on the side of his face as well. His hat and his cloak need a bit more work, I think. I'm not really sure how I'm going to go about that. But hopefully I'll come back in the next clip with some progress for you guys. So it's the next day and I managed to make a little bit of progress on what's in front of you. I think I'll show you off the Iron Hills first, as they have now had all of their beards and hair done and had a wash. And they are looking a lot better, I think. I'll pick up this guy, show you close up, get a focus shot, there we go. So the armour's still quite dull. Instead of using non-oil on these guys, I used Agrax Earthshade because I wanted more of a weathered, battle-worn look, which I think has been achieved. Only step left on these guys would be to base them and pick out the sort of underlying armour. I think I'll do that in a sort of a lighter silver, probably not Rune Fang Steel because that'd be too light, so probably, what's this called, Ironbreaker. Probably dry brush that on the armour and they are good to go. Get ready and based and they are set for the table. Over here, managed to make a little bit more progress on Gandalf. Not too much was needed really, just a few highlights on the beard. I'm not going to bother doing the eyes just because they're not as easy to see and his hat covers them most of the time anyway, so there's no point, I think. So I managed to just highlight up the cloth, the cloak, part of the beard and the hair as well. There we go. He is good to go, I think. Get ready, get base on him, and he is set. And then finally Radagast. I think I'm up to a standard where he can be completely finished. So I managed to get, let's see if we can get a closer shot. There you go. So I managed to do some eyes on him. The first time I've ever done eyes. They've come out a little cross-eyed, but seeing as it's Radagast, I think that fits, to be honest. Managed to pick out some of the details. I tried to do the bag a little lighter, pick out some of the details on that. Dry brush the cloak with Rhinox hide, give it a weathered look. His staff was dry brushed with, what's it called? Xandri dust. So you get a nice shot for you guys. Here we go. Hedgehog, picked out his eyes, base. Again, not too much was needed. All that's left for him is just get a bit of flock on there and go over the rim again. He's good to go. Yeah, I say he's gone a bit cross-eyed, but for the first time I've ever done eyes, I'm pretty happy. So hopefully in the next clip I will have all of these guys completely finished for you. And we are back. It is now Thursday. Hopefully get this up for you guys tomorrow. So I just thought I'll come in and show you my, well, completed now, my completed Iron Hills. So as you can see, they've had the wash and the bases are done, and they are looking absolutely incredible. Even by my standards, which are pretty poor I think, they have come out incredibly well. As you can see from the side as well, I picked out the under armour in a lighter silver, as I said. What's it called? Rune Fang Steel. So as I just go over the sort of the mithril mesh sort of type thing, just to get a bit of contrast, and on some of these guys it looks absolutely awesome. So I can show you this guy for example, especially with his base all done now. Again, there's not too much colour on these guys, but there doesn't need to be, I don't think, because in the movies they are pretty drab and battle worn, so that's the kind of look I was going for. So what I'll do is I'll get these lined up and show you another pan shot as well, the close-ups. So yeah, there's a few different colour beards in there. There's some greys, there's some whites, there's some browns. I decided not to do any gingers, just to keep Dane like that all on his own. And that's them. They are ready for war. And if we look at these two, my wizards, you can see they are also done. They have also had their bases done. Bit of flock on there. Probably still drying, so it needs to be tidied up afterwards. But I'm very, very happy with how these guys have come out. Again, my painting skills aren't the best, but they have come out, I think, very well. Especially at tabletop standard, I think. It wasn't too much work, but because I've got other stuff on at the minute, it did take all a week to get these guys finished. I'll show you Gandalf here. Again, the flock is still drying, so will need to be tidied up afterwards, but I'm very happy with how these guys have turned out. Especially Gandalf. Although there wasn't much work that needed to be done, it's come out very well. So I'm not sure who they will ally in with, but I'm thinking Gandalf with elves, Radagast with dwarves possibly, not sure. Depending on points, we'll try and get them both in a battle report soon. Interested to see how Radagast turns out, you don't really see him too often. So yeah, that was there's a 2-week project now complete. So in terms of next things up for me, I'm going to take a step away from sort of good models and come on to something evil. So we have 2 trolls here. We have a cave troll who's just assembled. I got him in a trade recently with some other Moria stuff. There are a few gaps which can be expected. So start of next week will be tidying him up, green stuff in all the gaps, getting him ready to be sprayed, start some work on him. And here we have a troll chieftain. Now I got one a few years ago now. Did a good job on him I think, but in the time that I've had him, and you see here that his sword is snapped off. So I decided to get him stripped down, stripped enough anyway, And as you see here as well, one of his sort of toenails is missing as well. So what our plan is for this guy, same as the other troll, get these guys green stuffed, assembled, so there's no gaps, they all look good. I'll have to create a weapon at the end of a sword for this guy, which sounds a bit daunting for me, but I've never done any sort of sculpting or anything like that, so should be interesting. I'll hopefully get some footage of that for you guys next week. As always, make sure you comment, like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.